Schmidt.
Where you're wearing a blue disguise.
I'm Captain America.
Oh, I didn't know that!
Well, do you know any magic tricks?
I do! Watch me leave the stage. I love that laugh. Do it again. Captain America doesn't laugh like that. Dude, try it deeper. There! That's nice. What's your question, Captain America?
What's your favorite magic trick?
Appearing intelligence is really my bad.
What's Kirk's intelligence abilities?
Kirk, Captain Kirk, the legendary hero of the galaxy. What's his magic trick? Is asking questions of Mr. Spock. I mean, he doesn't know. What's that, Mr. Spock? He tells him, okay, I got it. Should we turn left or right, Mr. Spock? He says, go up. Oh, up. Go up. No, no magic tricks. But what's your question?
What's your career life like?
What's my career life like?
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, how you auditioned to be Kirk in Star Trek?
Okay, there's a reasonable question. Will you sit down to answer it? I did an audition. They made they call it a pilot film. It's an example of what the show is going to look like. So they made an hour show that they called Star Trek, and they said to NBC Network, here's what we propose as an example. They call it a pilot. So they made this pilot, and NBC said, we don't like the way it goes, we don't like the story, but it's fascinating. So let's make another pilot with a whole new cast. And the only person they kept was Leonard Nimoy as Spock. But even then, Leonard hadn't fully gotten the character that he made in the second one. So when they made the second pilot, they called me and asked me if I would play the part of the captain. So I didn't audition. I was asked to do it, and I said yes when I saw the first one. I said, wow, that's most interesting. I'll do the second pilot, and that was how that worked. Captain America. Little man, what's your question?
How was it working with Leonard Nimoy? Thank you, I'm very cute. Thank you.
It's not necessarily a compliment. You're a young boy. You're stalwart, handsome, and athletic. You used to be cute. Now you're, what, you're 7, 8, 9 years old?
9.
Yes. Cute is out the window after 8. Now you gotta be intelligent, and you gotta do good work. What's your question?
How was it working with Leonard Nimoy?
The award?
What?
What was that word, sweetheart? The award?
Working.
Working with Leonard Nimoy. Okay. I wrote a book just recently, which is on the New York Times bestseller list. You know what that is, don't you?
No.
Well, remember this. What's your name?
Spencer.
Spencer, the New York Times bestseller list is a popularity thing. Like, who's the most popular? Leonard Nimoy is the most popular book. And I wrote a book to do you have a lot of friends?
Yes.
Are they really good friends, or do you fight with them all?
I fight with them a lot, but it's just for fun.
Perfect. So you have friends that you fight with, but you still love.
Yes.
Somebody once said, "Your a best friend, a great friend of yours, is somebody who knows all about you and still loves you." And that's what you're telling me. You can fight with your friend, but he's still if you're lucky enough to have more than one, is still your buddy.
Exactly.
That's exactly the way it was with Leonard and me. Except we met when we were far older than you. We met when we were actors on the series, and we stayed friends for 50 years. We were friends. And there were occasions when we would fight, not physically, because I could beat the heck out of him. But we would have differences of opinion, and he wouldn't speak to me for a while, a day or a week or something. But we always made up because he was my best friend. I never had a friend like you're talking about. I don't know why. I was busy, struggling as a young man and as an actor, didn't have time. But then, because of, he and I would appear on stage together like this, and we'd make each other laugh and make you laugh and everybody else laugh because we enjoyed each other so much. For 50 years, I had this dear, dear friend. We had a disagreement, I'm not quite sure what it was, at the very end. And he died before we could make up. This is all in my book called Leonard. And it might be something you want to pick up as one of the books you're going to read. I mean that sincerely, because it's all about friendship. And you sound like you've got these wonderful friends that you can have a disagreement with and still have your best buddies. So, what was it like to work with Leonard Nimoy? He was the best. Good evening.
My name's Peter. You still spend a lot of time on stages like this one and sometimes doing your one-man show. I wanted to ask you about all the way back at the beginning of your career, on the Canadian stage and then on the Broadway stage, what kind of lessons you took that were foundational for your acting career from that time? And would you ever go back if you could do King Lear?
I'd have to learn all those lines. You know, I started off as a stage actor, and a stage actor is like this, like we're having here this evening. The stage, it's like immediate connection. I mean, I'm enjoying you, you're enjoying me, we're having fun. And if I had prepared lines and something smarter and more intelligent and funnier than me had written for me, it would even be more fun. But this is totally spontaneous, and you recognize it as such. So, my career was started off on stage, and I did years and years of it, gradually getting into television in Canada. And then I came down to New York, and I did a Broadway play in New York, and essentially stayed because there weren't any young actors my age, my look, who had had the experience I had of 5 years of continuously playing on stage. Every week, must have done, I don't know, 60, 70 plays, rehearsing one during the day and playing at night in front of an audience this size at night. Playing, and then the next morning get up, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, we'd be rehearsing the next play. I discovered that the only way to do that was hard work. Learning lines is no different than boning up for an exam or a presentation when you're older, or making an excuse to your boss. You have to work very hard at it. You have to be meticulous. You have to study hard. You have to spend the time, and nothing is for free. If you don't do the work, you don't get the job. Or if you've got the job as an actor, you don't do the work, you won't get another job. So if I learned anything in my earlier years, is working hard is beneficial. And you've got to put in your 10,000 hours. And I remember the story, I think in that book of the 10,000 hours, where, and I forgot the name of the book, or the author, who said, it takes 10,000 hours to become adept at something. And I remember it was Gates who passed by the computer that was empty at night, and he would go in at night and work on the computer night after night because it was freed up at the early morning hours. And he spent all that time acquainting himself with how computers work, those 10,000 hours. So it takes that kind of work. And when I was asked what do I like to do best, in essence was the question, I've spent my 10,000 hours in another skill as well, as a horseman. I've ridden competitively now for the last 30 years. I've worked really hard. What's happened is purportedly, supposedly, as you get older, you're supposed to lose your balance. You're supposed to lose your ability to move. You're supposed to lose your ability to remember what the pattern is. None of that has happened to me as a result of desire to compete on the highest level. So here again, I'm working hard. And I've become one of the top reigners in competition in Southern California. And it's a highly physical skill. And I get up in the morning and work out with the intention of, I got to get better for the horses. And I am. I'm better this year than I was last year. Yeah.
In Star Trek, which was your favorite episode?
Nobody's ever asked me that. Do you watch Star Trek?
Yeah.
Why was that yeah?
Because I do.
But not often.
Well, yeah, not often.
So, of the few that you have watched, what would be your favorite?
I like the one with the Gorn.
The Gorn. That's one of my favorites too. Why is it your favorite?
I don't know, I just like the Gorn.
No, but there was a neat story behind the Gorn.
I like the bazooka thing.
The bazooka thing. I don't know what you mean by the bazooka thing.
That must be another episode, but I like the Gorn.
Well, the Gorn was a bad monster because she was protecting her babies, her eggs.
Yeah. That was a she.
Well, it might have been a he, but that would have been a twist I wasn't aware of. I believe it was the mother Gorn. Oh, wait a minute. That's the Hornet. What are you talking about? I'm talking the Hornet, you're talking Gorn. Of course, the Gorn. I struggled with the Gorn and I had to invent fire and arms and explosives, right?
Yeah.
And then it was a blow-up between the Gorn and me. I blew the Gorn up.
Yeah.
And it became little Gornettes. Little pieces of the Gorn floated all over. Yeah?
Yeah.
That was my favorite episode. can't stand looking at myself, so I never saw many of those things. And when I directed pieces that I was in, the torture was seeing myself on screen and having to criticize myself because I'm self-critical.
And you're not going to like this question.
Oh dear.
Okay, in the 1960s, episodic TV was very different than it is today. At the end of every episode, everything got reset to 0. Today, nobody has script immunity. It's like everybody's wearing a red shirt, including the primary actor. How do you think the Star Trek episodes would be done today? And would they be better or worse?
Huh, what an interesting question to ask. So let's look at what you just said. In the, say, the 60s and 70s, every episode ended and it was over, and the characters who were the main characters in the piece existed, and you knew they were going to be alive next week to have tell another story. Nowadays, people get killed off willy-nilly to maintain your interest, and everybody's in jeopardy. And believe me, the actors know that they're in jeopardy, and so they ask for less money because they know that. They used to say, actors used to say, okay, I'm established, now I'm going to ask for more money next year. That doesn't exist anymore. You're established, but you can leave in a moment. For me, and this is why studio heads pick young writers, because they're so with the cultural currents. For me, I liked coming to an end, a sigh of relief. Oh, they've saved the day, and I'm going to watch next week and watch them save the day again. That was, I still hold on to that. To not know whether my favorite character is going to live or die in all those things, and all those series that were so popular, filled me with apprehension. And I didn't like it. And I longed for the well-made play, beginning, middle, and end, and that was it. That was my opinion. How do you guys feel about that? Give me a sound of yes, if you like the closed end thing. And what about the open end show? Don't you let, or as Trump would say, I won. What are you doing? You're on your phone. You're standing in front of the microphone ready to ask a question. Is that your phone?
Yes.
What are you doing?
Oh, well, I just thought I'd commemorate the occasion.
Well, that's beautiful. I just asked what you were doing. So you're commemorating the occasion on an iPhone.
Yes. Well,
There's something significant. What?
it's a Windows phone.
You better have a good question.
Well, you've shown a lot of terrific insight in your entire career as an actor, both recent and long years past, and it's been great to hear a lot of your advice here tonight. But I still have one question for you, and that's, what did you really see on the wing of the plane?
A Czechoslovakian acrobat in a little furry suit. But, and maybe you can help me. Reason, that's terror at 20,000 feet, isn't it?
Correct.
correct. We could go further into that, but I'll avoid it. Why do you think that piece has remained so popular? That it's in all those marathon of Twilight Zone. Why is it so popular?
I think perhaps from where I'm coming from, one, it was an excellent example of early thrills on that particular period of television, and the other thing is, I think they re-air it a lot because you're in it.
I think that it touches a core fear that we all had about getting in this cylinder, and then it goes up, and you think, how's it going up? And then it hits a bump, and you think, does that mean we're going down? And then every so often something happens, like a lightning strike on a plane, and there's a loud bang, and you think this is the end. I'm never going to fly again. But then how do I get to my lover who's in the next city? It's a choice between sex and the plane. And you choose sex and you fly again, but you're filled with fear. And so the sex isn't very good, so you fly again. I think it touches a core of fear. And that's the reason it has remained universal. And that's the reason we suspend disbelief of a little furry animal who's not even aerodynamic, standing on a wing looking in a window. Which, by the way, when my kids were young and we'd fly, and there was the flight assistant, they'd say, "Dad, do the look." So I'd look out the window, and they'd call the stewardess, "Ma'am!" And she'd say, "What's the matter?" And I go, "Ooh."